be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Those who come to know it do not rely on learning. Those who rely on learning do not come to know it. Hi, I'm Taoist Master San Qing. What a magical day. We are here paying homage and valuing the one and only Bruce Lee. I had the fortunate opportunity to take him into a channeling session and get a true understanding of where the man, the myth, the legend came from, and what his realization was with his short-ended life within this realm. In this video, we're going to go over Bruce's realization and what it really means to be Bruce Lee and the true understanding of his affinity with the Tao, because ultimately this is what this is about. Taoism in of itself. So, you know that Taoism is two sides of a coin. One dark, one light. Ultimately yin and yang. And the goal of any Taoist is to bring it to a point, the realization of being one with all. That state of consciousness is beyond anything and everything that you can imagine in this realm, operating in what we consider the 5D reality. We speak on this often. Now, Bruce Lee, from everything that he's shared with me, has been, on that journey throughout his lifetime, a very short-lived life of only 30-odd years. I was quite pleasantly surprised channeling his energy and having a full understanding as to where he was leading up to his untimely death. He's a earthbound spirit at this point. Unfortunately, he hasn't come to that realization or transition to a higher self. It's quite sobering, I mean, one of the most powerful things that I can perform as a Taoist master, Taoist priest, is my channeling rituals. And it's something that is integrated into the very essence of Taoism and the rituals and understanding of how powerful our affinity is with the universe. Moreover, the realization of your highest level of consciousness. That is the journey that a Taoist takes. So now speaking more on Bruce Lee, and let's get to the fundamentals of the interview that I had with him and speaking to him about what really took place. How did it come to the unfortunate demise of Bruce Lee within this realm? It was about 4 or 5 days ago, actually, where he would come to me in my sleep, he would come to me in my wake. And the more you understand about channeling, you have this entering seed of energy that drops into your very core. It starts with your heart, and the energy starts to ripple out and pulsate through every cell in your physical body. This is the basic starting line for anyone that is immersed in channeling or has any understanding of channeling. Now, people do and perform channeling every day because I'll remind you, and I always remind you, all thoughts of your mind are not yours. How very interesting. What a coincidence. Now, you can be perplexed and sit there and go, Sifu, what does that mean? All thoughts of my mind are not mine. Whose are they? Well, you understand that this is nothing more than a vehicle. The physical body is the anchor to this very realm. It's the container that holds your very essence, your spirit. Now, of course, we speak on spirit body, energy body, physical body. And so when you get into immense, deep levels of channeling, where you're able to absorb and transcend and be the catalyst and conduit of any spirit or any energy. It's a mastered art form. That's right. And Taoists are one of the best at doing exactly that. Our affinity with the earth and the universe is second to none. So, it started 4 or 5 days ago, and I was compelled to bring myself to sit down with Bruce as he would come to me in my sleep and my wake, and how profound it was, and is to this moment. But he was pushing more for an understanding as to what really happened to him in the last few waking moments of his life, and how he came to that point. Now, you have to understand, within Taoism, we have an infrastructure that works very deeply into the inner workings of the universe, and spirits and energies are a fundamental foundational point of a Taoist affinity with all that is. Now, Eastern philosophy and culture will bring you to that realization. It's steeped in superstition. Now, as a Taoist priest, a Taoist master, you come to a pinnacle, a point where you cross that threshold in a level of consciousness where you are no longer operating in a duality. It turns into the singular, the oneness that we speak of. And I speak of it over and over again through all my teachings, through anything and everything that I put out, giving people a greater understanding of their affinity and their oneness. And if you want to operate in a 5D reality, you must be able to cross that threshold, as are the dimensions that we speak on in quantum physics. In physics in of itself, these are shifts of consciousness that lead you to a higher realization of how powerful you are when you are one with everything, when you realize that you are the field. So channeling is the very essence and fundamental connection that Taoists have with everything. This is how we source our energy. This is how we source our information. And once you master that, everything is abundant, timeless, endless, limitless, infinite. And so, coming back to Bruce Lee, it was quite interesting. He ended up drawing me to a couple of places, strangely enough, in Las Vegas and also in San Francisco. I've had him take me through the very annals of San Francisco, the deeper bowels of some of the more older antique stores in San Francisco, and he's brought me to some really funny places where, in fact, at one point I was face to face with ancient statues that were thousands of years old within the antique stores in San Francisco itself. Now, there's a clear evidence of his relationship with San Francisco Chinatown, and there's clear evidence of his relationship with Tao and Taoism, and him finding that through his journeys. And the more that he speaks on it, it's not the inner details that I'm here to speak on and what he wants to get out. It's more an understanding that he made decisions that created the limitation and his ultimate demise and his death, which is unfortunate. Now, you have to realize you start working with, and I've spoken on this before, realize when you are dealing with any type of spirit energy, that this is all the fundamental infrastructure of your realization, your reality, your mindset. So if you believe it, the truth is what you believe, and it's the only truth that you need to be concerned with. And this is the very essence of how people operate in their own lives. And so the goal as a Taoist is to hit past that peak of duality and enter the oneness. so that everything becomes one with the universe. And that's how you get to realize that 5D reality operating in a 3D. So Bruce constantly coming to me in my dreams, in my waking moments. We get to sit down and we need to speak a little deeper. And the obsession that he had with the internal alchemy and all the power that comes from the Tao is so much greater than the simple words flow like water. So you come to a certain level of development within martial form, and it is very, very basic. People need to understand, no matter what martial form you do, Tai Chi, Bagua, Kung Fu, Karate, and the subsections of that, generally speaking, a certain sect of martial form that comes from a certain, ultimately we call it an indigenous tribe, or more commonly, a sect within, Asian culture, transmutes this, system. Like anything, it's a system. It comes to the same point. Bruce's obsession was with the power that you could obtain through the energy. And that was reflected on, his constant showboating of the 1-inch punch, how that would just blow people's minds away. That is very powerful, that particular martial action. But everything is steeped in spirit projection. So people need to understand spirit projection is more commonly known as what we would call astroplane traveling. And, most people train for lucid dreaming, and they end up, finding that the first person, third person, no person experience is where the inner workings of their manifestation, their healing, their magic will take place. So his obsession with that, and he would just keep reminding me and going over and over again about his obsession with the inner alchemy that led to his untimely death, was everything to do with, you start to merge yourself in the duality. Be very clear. I want you to understand this, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. This is only a construct of your reality. All the subsections of all these things are all have a prerequisite. It's what your truth is, and it's the only truth. So understand, if you're dealing with lower vibrational energies, higher vibrational energies, everything has a frequency, energy, vibration, and is completely related to what you believe in. So his issue that he had that ultimately led to his untimely death had so much to do with his resistance to submit to the energies that he was working with. Now, my goodness, that wouldn't have been the first and foremost thing that I would have thought was the reason why he's unfortunately passed away at such a young age. But the aspect or the theory that people constantly relate over and over again about, a curse is 100% real. People don't understand. It's like you walk under a ladder. If you believe it's going to give you bad luck, I promise you the reflectant realization through your connection with the universe and how it works and how it ripples out into the wave that is your reality, you will have bad luck. It all starts with you. So if you walk under a ladder and you believe you're going to have good luck, guess what's going to happen? You are going to have good luck. So we go back to Bruce. Bruce keeps reminding me, he drew me down to San Francisco, Chinatown. He drew me into a couple of places in Las Vegas, Chinatown. Not the same, honestly. There's so much heritage and steeped in so much history. The essence of Chinatown in San Francisco. It's one of my most favorite places to go. Not so much in Las Vegas, unfortunately. It just doesn't have it. So I went to many different Taoist temples within San Francisco. I went into antique stores. I saw some incredible pieces. Now, what he was constantly bringing me to was this understanding. This is a message that he kept reiterating over and over again, was his limited belief, and then he was dancing in a knowing, and then a thinking. And so when you're dealing with this duality, and I talk to you about the construct of your reality is your truth. So if I'm dealing with any spirit or energy, you have to have come to a consciousness and realization that goes way past this 3D reality to be able to connect, to vibrate, to resonate with these frequencies and have a direct, clear source of information. So, it's so funny. Bruce has been coming to me for a couple of days. I notice people are making videos all over the internet. I guess he's reaching out to anyone that'll listen to him. And it is reflected in what's taking place with the information that's being disseminated. So it comes down to he wasn't prepared to give to these energies what was necessary for him to go to the next level. And let me explain this to you. A lot of this stuff is a contract that you make because people are commanding these energies to do specific things for them, which is unfortunate and is not the way that you create a good relationship with high-level spirits and frequencies and energies. That's not how you handle yourself. If you want to create a relationship where they work with you in the synergy of the universe, it can't come from a place of command. And a lot of Taoists seem to think differently, which is unfortunate. Of course, it always ends badly in the same fashion. So his realization, he wasn't prepared to give what was asked of him, and he was working within this contract, brought him to the limitations of his life in this realm. Now, people will speak on it, many different reasons. He was found unconscious. It wasn't a curse. He passed away at someone's house. Be very clear. He wants people to know. He is telling me very clearly that it was due to his lack of commitment to the energies that were helping him achieve the goals that were set within his reality. Now, looking at it 30, 50 years later, fast forwarding to 2023, if you were to just understand the synergy of the universe and realizing it has a ebb and flow, a rippling effect that creates the reality that you're looking at right now, my goodness, he could have made it so easy for him. But he came from a very superstitious background. It was very limited with the duality, yet he was obsessed with the inner workings, the alchemy of internal cultivation, which basically is the premise of most martial forms. Moreover, Tai Chi and Bagua, which are martial forms I'm familiar with and the forms that I teach people, this inner working is where you get the secret source and the seed to the inner alchemy of Taoism, which is fundamentally Nigong and Qigong. And so, he was working with Kung Fu, which is another martial form, Taoist martial form, and different to karate. And so he wanted to speak on it. The simplicity of what my message for you today and the understanding of Bruce was he wasn't in any way interested in leaving this world at such a young age, yet it did ripple over his generational curse. And yes, it is. That's right. Let me explain something to you. You're working and operating on generations and generations of information within your DNA. And this is not something that is, questioned anymore. It's reflected in peer-reviewed science. We have now started to analyze things from a quantum physics level, and we're able to decipher information, the zeros and ones, using the periodic table. We're getting straight-up information directly from the DNA strands that are inside you that speak volumes as to where you come from, what you resonate to, sounds, symbols, numbers, words. This is the inner workings of who you are, the very essence of who you are. So, Bruce coming to me, and he wants to relate this message and make it very clear that he was not interested in leaving this space at such a young age. Unfortunately, due to his limited beliefs, he's steeped in superstition, and what basically the energies drew from his physical body, we come to a very short-lived life. It's very unfortunate. Now, well, what does that mean, Sifu? You're talking about Bruce Lee dying because he had some limited belief and it had to do with duality? 100%. Because your operation, I mean, just the fundamentals of epigenetics, you are a product of your environment. Your thoughts change your reality. It's as simple as that. So he keeps reiterating, he's telling it to me right now. I was not interested in passing on. It was before my time. I'm very saddened. Now, he's earthbound. He has not crossed over. He's still with us and is constantly attempting to channel his information all over the place. And when I look over the internet, he's popping up in all different places, attempting to get his information out there, and people are just coming across it. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. You're being given a message from Bruce Lee that compels you to want to talk about him, to speak on him. And it's being transmuted into your very communication or your unrealized desire to go, hey, I just want to make a video on Bruce Lee. I have no idea why. Now, your development of skill of channeling may be limited, but that's what's taking place. Just so you know, you can have a mic drop on that one, because once you see this video, you're going to be like, holy moly, this makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so the basic essence of this messaging is Taoism was very much an important part of Bruce Lee's life. Taoism was the very essence and the seed that created his magical affinity with, an understanding of what his purpose was. And so he was able to emulate that for a very short period of time by bringing martial arts into the realm of the Western world and realization of that, and how magical and powerful it was, and it translated into so many different ways. To this day, he still is a motivator, an inspiration to millions and millions and millions of people. And people don't understand, when you look at the length of his career, it only spanned a couple of years. Yet you feel like inside your heart that Bruce Lee has been around for hundreds. And that's the kind of mark that you want to make on your very essence when you are traveling in your journey of realization and consciousness in this realm. So Bruce Lee was very saddened and it was very unfortunate. A lot to do with his belief system in the duality and his communication with these energies that brought him to his, shortened life. So he wants to reiterate that. That was not his purpose. That was not his reason. He had a motivation to inspire people. And in essence, really, he's doing exactly that right now. Hasn't stopped. That's what you call profound, ladies and gentlemen and ladies, is the ability to create such a rippling effect, taking wave to matter to particle, and it has replicated itself, and its very essence, 50 years later, has the same power, the same effect, the same motivation, the same inspiration that it did 50 years ago. So Bruce Lee wants to thank Taoism, wants to thank the very essence and understanding of how he embodied that. And he really did. If you look at any material, any interview that he ever had, it was his passion and understanding of that. And he really spearheaded the word consciousness. It didn't exist before him. The idea of talking about that and even understanding what it means. To this day, I talk to people and I ask them, what is consciousness? And they're like, what? What? They still have no understanding. And of course, that's really how you operate. And what we really know more of is your conscious and unconscious process. And so Bruce Lee is a living legend. Just like the scriptures of the Tao Te Ching, it's a living scripture. His very essence will never leave us. Now, that could possibly be the reason why he's earthbound right here, right now. And, greater questions can be answered at a later date, but I will say that he is very disappointed in the fact that his life was taken at such a young age, and it was due to what he was doing within his internal practices that brought him to his untimely death. And so that curse rippled out into taking the life of his son. And if you talk to any Eastern cultures, they are very much aware and believe in a family curse. And so because he believed in that, guess what? It becomes his reality. Understand this if you don't understand another thing that I share with you. Your truth is the only truth, and that's all the truth you have to be concerned by, but that is a construct of your reality. You draw, remember, you are the field. That means that your eyes move, it alters wave to matter, matter to particle. You are the magnet of your reality. You draw everything to you. This is the premise and understanding of laws of attraction. So, with that said, the inner workings of Bruce Lee was very simple. Unfortunately, he was struggling with this limited belief, and his communication with the spirits and energies that were driving him led to his untimely death. And this is a message that he keeps reiterating and wanting to get out. So I'm more than happy to share it. So we can have further conversations with Bruce Lee, but the understanding, the deep understanding, and the limited, the in definition was his regret that he wasn't able to realize a greater level of consciousness. Now, for him to be limited and earthbound is very unfortunate. There's several things that he can do, and within Taoist systems, he is quite a few levels short of the consciousness that is necessary for him to transmute into a higher frequency and higher energy that will take him to basically the source, the Tao, and return him back here as that in of itself. And so when you reflect on a spirit or energy, when they're earthbound, they are just the sum of their life experiences. So they can only offer you what they have experienced up until that point. It's only until they are realized and transmuted into a highest level of divine energy, frequency, vibration that they return to this space as a spirit guide, as an emulated, transmuted message of the divine, which in any different way, shape, or form could be Buddha, universe, energy, Tao, God, Allah, whatever it is. So understand these mechanisms and you get a better understanding. Bruce is an incredible energy. Everything that he emulates that you see in the movies is the true core of who he is. Yes, he was a great entertainer, but moreover, he was a source of power, inspiration, motivation, a level up in consciousness, and a fundamental spearhead for people getting a general understanding of what Taoism was. And we're so forever grateful that he was a catalyst and conduit for that very message. So you may have learned quite a few things in this video, understanding spirit energies in this realm, understanding that there are infinite amount of them, and understanding that your operation in your journey in this lifetime is founded on your understanding that you can level up your consciousness at any point. As long as you're, operating in this 3D reality, you will be very limited. You will basically be a function of duality. Moreover, that means you're thinking. You are not knowing. Knowing is a singular. Never forget that, ladies and gentlemen and ladies. And that is the pinnacle, the ultimate being one with everything, your realization of yourself as the field. So, I want to thank Bruce. I want to thank the Tao. I want to thank the Jade Emperor for sharing with us. And the very essence of Bruce Lee and his echoing words directly from the Tao Te Ching. Flow like water. Let everything be realized to your acceptance and allowance that all is one, one is all. I'm Taoist Master San Qing, and I want to thank you for your time. I look forward to seeing you soon.